My bearings. So today we are continuing the theme this month, which is Expanded Horizons. And the talk today is Aim Higher. And a lot of it was inspired by the guy who plays music trivia with me in the back room. But he was printing up and reading something online because he works at Chico State, and it was Experience Excellence. And it was about people within Chico that have achieved important things or significant or popular or famous things. And he said that while he was reading the newsletter on his computer screen, a woman called and said, "Oh, I want you to print a poster for me called Experience Excellence." And it was that moment of synchronicity for him, and then in him sharing that for me, and I looked at the nice newsletter and all the wonderful people who have made themselves somewhat famous as a result of having, not because they lived in Chico, they came from Chico and then they were doing that. And it was so exciting to me because it was an idea of like, well, where do we go with that? And it was like, aim higher, aim higher. That is a part of it. Experience excellence and then aim higher. And that's what I want us to do individually today, as well as today, because we have a community meeting and we're talking about that. But one of the people that was mentioned in the newsletter is Matt Carney. I don't know how many of you are familiar with the music of Matt Carney. No, just Don is the only one waving. Okay, well, he went from playing solo guitar behind Acker Gym, I know you know where Acker Gym is, to packing major music venues around the country. He's had top 40 hits. He's been on Grey's Anatomy, so already he's okay in my book, 30 Rock, etc. But he is a local guy. We have Aaron Rodgers on the sports side. We have Matt on the musical side, who has done good by Chico and moved on. Of course, we've got, Sierra Nevada Brewery as a fame. We've certainly got Andy Keller with Chico Bag. All of these people who have made their names and nicely reflect back onto us in Chico. And so then I thought, okay, well, now we have to aim higher. And then this week, the news gave me all the material I could need for a talk today, and it inspired me with a quote that I found about 10 years ago. That's one of my private quotes. I don't know how to say that otherwise, but it's from Hermann Hesse, and it is, "I have been and still am a seeker, but I have ceased to question stars and books. I have begun to listen to the teachings my blood whispers to me." See what that did? Yeah, that was it. And I'm going to read it again, and notice the word stars is in it. That's only part of it. "I have been and still am a seeker, but I have ceased to question stars and books. I have begun to listen to the teachings my blood whispers to me." And what does that mean? At least for me, what it means is that innate wisdom within, that passion and that desire that is in each of us for us something to express our individual excellence. That's what it's about. So then I thought about that, and then the news report that most of you may have read, I don't know. The second one I know you have. Alyssa Carson is a 13-year-old from Baton Rouge, Louisiana, and she wants to be an astronaut and the first person on Mars. She has been studying science, language, and has been the first person to take part in all 3 of NASA's world space camps. She's 13. The camps consist of 5 days of training sessions, and NASA and their representatives say that Alyssa has an opportunity and that she has been training for the mission and could very well be on the mission that goes in the next 20 years. Alyssa says failure is not an option for her, and her father says that the next 20 years of her life has been planned out. She will be the first human on the planet Mars. And she's been wanting to go to the Red Planet since she was 4 years old. And here's a quote from Alyssa. "As I get older and continue to do more things, the resume will just get longer and hopefully help me stand out and help me look unique compared to other people." Now, this expedition that she intends, that's another important word for today, to be on, is taking place in 2033. So you can get your 2015 calendars now and think how that stretches. And in between that, she is planning to improve her knowledge and study at the Cambridge and International Space University, as stated on her blog. And the name of her blog is NASA Blueberry. And Blueberry is her call sign at the U.S. Space Agency. She has a call sign at NASA. She's 13. Aim higher. I think so. I'm not sure how much higher one could aim than the stars and the moon and Mars, but she's doing it. 13-year-old. And what I love about that is there aren't adults telling her, that's nice, honey. What else do you want to do? Now you're going to finish high school and take typing? The way I was told. I don't know about you, but whatever the arrows that I was aiming higher as a kid seemed far-fetched, magical, or unreachable to the adults in my world. And it was, that's really sweet, honey. Oh, nice. Ooh, that's good. Oh, you want to sing and dance? That's nice, honey. Okay, but make sure you finish high school, learn how to type, take bookkeeping, make sure you have something to fall back on. I still get that when I hear that plays back. Why didn't anyone teach me that all I had to do was fall back on the truth, on spirit, on who I am? Well, they didn't. They taught me the best that they knew. They taught me from what they were taught, which is why we come to a center like this, so that we have a family like this that encircles us and embraces us, so that when someone comes to me and says, I want to be the first person in Mars, I want to be the next person to win a Tony, or a Grammy, or win a award or something, write the next great American novel, whatever it is, I don't go, oh, that's nice, swell, okay, see ya. Or, oh, come to service on Sunday, make sure you take a class. It's like, yes, how may I love you today? How can I support you in that dream of taking you higher with your intention, with your desire, your dream? Because if you have that dream, you have that intention to desire, so do we. And every time one of us says yes to our desires and our dreams, and we follow the course and the path, whatever that may be taking more years of training. It may be brave enough to move out of the comfort of your home and your family and head north or south or east. If it takes that, yes, but we'll give you a backpack for the road. A care package, my grandmother used to call it. Because I don't know if CARE still exists, but there was an organization when I was a kid called CARE, C-A-R-E. And it had something, I don't know what it was, but when I moved out of the house, then my grandmother would send me care packages. I won't tell you what was in them, but she would put a little note, here's a care package for you, and some of it was helpful and some of it wasn't, but it was sent with love. We will create a care package for you. That's what we need. Maybe we call Andy Keller at Chico Bag, and we have him to design a backpack that says Chico I can't even say her own name. I'm so excited. Can you tell this is not planned? Chico New Thought Center, aiming you higher, living. I would figure it out. Living, loving, learning together, sending you forth. And in that backpack, really might be a Science of Mind textbook. Mostly there might be just a card with our name and phone number and website so you'd remember how to find us, but it'd be empty. You know why? Because all of it would contain the spiritual tools that each of you would put in that you need. So you might come to my office and you say, okay, what do we need? And like the sign on the back of my door that says, take what you need, I'd give you something that says courage. Or I'd give you something that says enthusiasm, or something that would be a spiritual mind treatment of prayer. Whatever you need, you'd put it in your backpack so that you could go on your path, on your road, and listen to the teachings of your blood and what they whisper. And by letting them whisper to you, suddenly they become the still small voice that has always been in you, and it begins to sing. And it will tell you, and it will lead you on your path, and you can aim higher and have expanded horizons. So the idea of intention and dharma, which is a Buddhist term, and I think it's important to talk about that today, again, because we have the community meeting, and I want to make sure I give you what Wikipedia says dharma is, but it's not. Where did it go? Hinduism describes Dharma as the natural universal laws whose observance enables humans to be content and happy and to save themselves from degradation and suffering. Dharma is the moral law combined with spiritual discipline and that guides one's life. Hindus consider Dharma the very foundation of life. It means, translated, that which holds. That would be your backpack, holding your Dharma. The people of the world and the whole creation. Dharma is the law of being without which things cannot exist. So Dharma, Hinduism. And that is a perfect lead-in for the other big news story this week. For those of you who may have read or heard that the 2014 Nobel Peace Prize was awarded, and there were co-recipients. One of the recipients was a Hindu, and I hope I pronounce his name correctly, a man from India, 60-year-old man named Kailash Satyarthi. That's the best I can do, Kailash Satyarthi. And he had the unique privilege of sharing this Peace Prize with a Pakistani, a Muslim, who happens to be another teenager, 17 years old, female, Malala, and let me pronounce her last name, Yousafzai, I don't mean to, Malala. Okay, she is a beautiful woman, and we've had her book in our bookstore for several months, I Am Malala, and it's the story of what happened to her briefly. She was on a bus, and the Taliban came in and asked her a question and actually shot her in the face. She survived that. It was touch and go. And there was still a plot to assassinate Malala and her father, and she survived, and she went on to tell her story. And she was awarded this prize because of the human rights advocacy, because of education, and because of trying to bring a different horizon for the women in Pakistan. A 17-year-old girl, a beautiful woman. And I guess it was earlier this year, which is why I ordered the book. Don and I saw an interview with her on The Daily Show, and Jon Stewart asked her a question. He asked her, well, this is all amazing, and wow, what you've done, and you're so courageous, but what would you do today if the Taliban approached you again right now, after having gone through what you knew what happened? Her response was, I would tell him how important education is, and that I even want education for your children as well. I'll tell him. That's what I want to tell you. I'll tell him. And now what do you want? She would still stand there and say to the man who wished her harm, wished her dead, I want education. I want expanded horizons for all people, but particularly for the women in Pakistan. I want education. And she would say that, a 17-year-old girl, aiming higher. And not just aiming higher, because certainly that day of the incident and any time after, it isn't about, okay, now what would I say if I was, it's not like the question for the Miss America pageant, all right, what would you do for world peace? All she was doing was following the whisperings of her blood, her dharma. And I don't know the Pakistani translation of dharma, but whatever that is, in terms of her purpose, her expression, her reason for being on the planet, she knew she had to do that. And we've had people like that in the world, Rosa Parks, of course, people who have stood to that and stayed in integrity with their principles and their passions. But to have a 17-year-old Pakistani young girl has now lit up a new path of expanded horizons for the planet in a way that could not have happened elsewise. And I know she wasn't thinking that day, get on the bus, I'm going to go on and I'm following my dharma and I'm going to transform the world, I'm going to be brave. We don't do that when we go outside our door. We don't even really do that often when we pack our backpacks, whatever our backpacks are, and as we head out on our own path. We allow the greater good of spirit, our dharma, our passions, the whisperings of our blood, to be clear enough so that we listen and we shut out the external noise. Sometimes we have to shut out the chatter of the people around us who love us and we love dearly and they mean well for us, but the ones who say, oh, I don't know, do you really think you should do that? You're probably, it's not safe to do that. Oh, you're too old to do that. You're too young to do that. You don't have enough credits. You can't go and make your mark in the world. Everybody's our dad. The world's, whatever the story is, and it may echo similar stories that you heard as a child. And hopefully you're not saying them by rote because they're in that brain conditioning to your children or grandchildren or the children that you have the ability to, the privilege to be with. Because our children, you know, there's been this whole movement about the indigo kids and that the indigo kids are smarter and brighter. And yes, they are. And yes, evolution's been going on for a long time. And I believe that each of us in our respective generations we were part of whatever that indigo generation was then, but we didn't have the environment or the skill set or the communication to be able to have someone say, that's your dream? You want to do that? You're going to be the first person to do that? Cool. What can we do? How do we get started? You didn't maybe go and buy them the blueprint paper and say, here, start to build your dream. Create a vision board. Talk to someone, call someone that is doing something that you think is similar to what you want and find out. People are not squelching youth today as much as they were before. Not that there aren't places where that's taking place, and I know the bigger picture contains both sides, but I also know and hear that children are allowed to be who they are, that their dreams and their passions are encouraged, and that we get to stand as responsible, loving, wise adults to shepherd them, but not to constrict them, not to mold them. Gibran talks about your children are your children, but they are not yours. They come from you, and we are there to support them and be like sheltering trees for them, but we cannot make them little mini-me's. Or mini whoever you are, not me. She is an amazing young woman who has said yes to the whispers of her blood, her dharma, her integrity. No one said she couldn't. Well, actually, she had a whole country that was saying that, but she listened to her higher self. So whether you're Alyssa, who is intending so clearly to be the first human on Mars, not only just the first human, but female, and planning and just going about her day, creating her whole life around that, or the Olympic athletes that do that, or the people that you hear about. I mean, we have tons, and if ever we need inspiration, there are tons and tons of stories, both in Chico and globally, that are there to inspire us about our dreams, our goals, our passions, and our dharma, our purpose for being. So I don't, wherever you fall on the age range scale, there is still a purpose for your being here. And I would like to encourage you to find a way to tap back into that. If it's gotten a little dusty, maybe it's gotten a little faded because it's been sitting in the window up there and getting the sun beating on it for years and years. Or maybe, for some of you, it's still in a box in the closet on the top shelf with a couple hats or pairs of shoes in front of it. Wherever it is that your dream and or your purpose, and they may be the same, to find it and begin an adventure, an expanded horizon, to begin an adventure to opening it again and finding where you are with that today. Where does that purpose, that dream fit who I am today, what I know now? Don't we always have those stories about, well, if I knew, then what I know now, it'd be a different story. And the youth is wasted on the young. Thank you, Oscar Wilde. Because we have the wisdom, we have the knowledge, we have the skill set, and the people, the support, and maybe even a little more financial freedom than we did at 12. We can do it. Nothing, no one, nothing stands in the way. Ernest Holmes says, it is the work of separating the belief from the believer. So if somewhere in your head, in your wiring, or even within that dream box, there is a belief that I can't, I won't, I shouldn't, it's never going to happen, and you feel that impulse of wanting to put the lid back on the box and put it back on the shelf. Separate that belief from the believer. Set it aside for your moment. Get back, be clear, use the skills that we teach you all the time about breath, mindfulness, awareness, spiritual mind treatment, and get clear and go back to the believing of what you know. Go back to listening to the whispers of your blood. Go back to your intention. Deepak says, Attention energizes and intention transforms. Oof. Boy, that guy has a way with words. Boom, pithy and powerful, right there. Attention energizes. And how do we translate in science mind? Well, what you put your attention on starts to focus. Intention, that's what transforms. So your attention is, what do I want to do? What do I want to change? Whether it's about the intention of fixing an ailment in your physical body, or it's the attention towards a bigger dream of expanded horizons for the stars and the moon, then you set the intention, because your intention is really one with the effect. The intention is the same as cause. We talk about cause and effect in religious science. So your intention becomes the cause that is one with the effect, the desired outcome. So it actually starts to get a little easier if you think about it that way. So wherever you are on your path, wherever you are after you have claimed your little treasure chest and opened it again to see how you're doing with your dharma, your purpose, your passions, your dreams. I'm not talking about the goals, okay? I'm talking about the bigger stuff today. I'm not talking about, I'm going to clean out the garage. No, the goals, those kinds of goals. The dreams, the passions, you know the ones, because you're going to get a funny little feeling here. And some of it may be like, yes, I do remember, okay. For others, it's going to be, oh yeah, well, it's too late. I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to look about it. It's too late. It's too painful. It's been too long. Don't let it be too long. Because how can it be too long if now is the only time there is? Does that help? I want to find a way to make it safe, inviting, encouraging, to allow you to go on this journey with me, with us, for expanded horizons, so that each of us, as little spiritual travelers on our sojourn, who come together and choose to come together in the circle of community called Chico New Thought Center, that we then become one circle. Instead of, these little circles going, we have these cliques, we have circles, and they have concentric circles. I'm looking to find a way of something that will get us back in the rhythm of being in the oneness, the circle of life, the wholeness. So not only that we're in the flow, but that we're in support of each other. And so that as the circle spins, that we can support who needs to be supported, uplift those who are being that, celebrate, do all the things that we do as a family and as a community. And that's what we're going to talk about a lot today. Not a lot, but that's a focus for the meeting. Who are we? Where are we going? What is our expanded horizon, and how do we aim higher? Alan Alda writes, begin challenging your own assumptions. Your assumptions are your windows on the world. Scrub them off every once in a while, or the light won't come in. That's all I'm asking. Today we may Windex our world. I don't mean that to be a plug, because I'm sure Windex is not an eco product anymore, or maybe it is. Don't sue me. Oh, God. Shorthand. We will use a wonderful glass cleaner to clean the glass of our views, our assumptions, our beliefs, our perspectives, so that we may see clearly and brightly the horizon that lies before us, and so that we know what our dream and vision is, and we know what we want someone to help us put in the backpack, and we know who to ask in our community to make that possible, and we share the journey, including when it means sharing the journey when one of us gets to actually go on a journey. Gets to kind of leave the nest, and we send them with all the tools that we can and all the love and the light. That's what we get to do with our dreams. It's not just the people. We surround them in the love and the light with all the tools, and then, like a dandelion, you hold it up there and you appreciate it, and then you go, and you let it be. That's what we're doing. That's all I have to say today. Ha, 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 short and sweet. Aren't you glad? Well, I know we have a meeting, so you're going to hear a lot of me, but this is what it's about. You have the inspiration available to you on the internet, on the news, in our bookstore, within your community, but mostly, and I'll close again with it because it's worth it, within you. I have been and still am a seeker, but I have ceased to question the stars and the books. I have begun to listen to the teachings my blood whispers to me. Let's take it within. The stars, the books, the music, the ministers, any or all of those things that we listen to that are wonderful reminders often show up as wonderful teachers. And really all they are mirrors, so that we may look within, back into our own soul, our own heart, and amplify the whispers of the nature of your being, the blood of your soul, and the blood being the passion that stirs within you. So take a moment now and let all of the words and feelings and emotions and tears and laughter just settle, and give yourself permission to be present. Eyes are closed so that you're not distracted. Breath begins to become full. You're not even thinking about the chair that's upholding you so that you may do this. The amazing instrument that your body is, with the heart beating, the lungs breathing, all of the organs and actions doing what they do so well, you're trusting that and knowing that. And so you have just been given such freedom to simply be here now, in this moment, in this stillness. Keep breathing. And if your mind really starts to wander, and it does, and it will, there's nothing wrong with that. Just bring the breath back to your attention, and the breath will bring you into the present moment. And then you breathe in the permission to ask of your higher self the question: what is my blood whispering to me today? Who I am, where I am now? What is my heart's desire, passion, my dharma or purpose calling to me? Ask your higher self. The higher self is the still small voice within, and it will quietly answer that. If you start hearing the mental voices that say, well, I don't know, and if I could, and one, and you know you're not there, but you're not back in present time, take a breath, clean the slate, ask again. What is in my treasure box? What is there that I still have a calling to know, to do, or to be? And the beauty is you don't have to have the answer as to how that takes place. The how is not up to you. Spirit steps in. Your community steps in. Loved ones step in. It's important that you identify that heart space for yourself. And now, if you've found it, or if it still feels a little tenuous, whatever it is, at whatever level, just envelop it, bathe it in a soft white or pinkish light, and feel as if you have tucked it back into your heart, not your head, into the heart. Take a breath in and then release it. And then we join together in what we call here affirmative prayer, spiritual mind treatment. And I speak it in the first person so that you may echo it within your own head as if you were saying the prayer. I know that there is that one life of God, the amazing life of God that shows up as the stars and the moon, as children and books and music, as loved ones, as family, as trees, as a good meal, as a good neighbor. all that life is, all that God is, I am. I am one with all of that. I am a part of that major whole. And I celebrate that. That part of me that is the same as Malala. That part of me that is the same as Ernest Holmes. That part of me that is the same as Jesus the Christ, Buddha. I celebrate the fact that I can be in a center, in a body, in a mind that puts Jesus and Buddha in the same sentence. Celebrates the teachings of both. Celebrates the teachings of our current teachers and leaders that call to me to speak to the whispers of my soul. And I say yes. I say yes to those whispers. I say yes to the activity of God that knows of itself in and through me as physical healing. Well, if there's some stuff going on in your body, that may be the fact. Now let's move it to the truth. The truth that there is a greater power in the universe, and you can use it to heal the body temple. Love the body temple. Let that power and energy move to where it needs to move and do its amazing healing work. And then bring that amazing awareness of the healing power of God as I bring it to finances, creative expression, relationships, workplace, school, and even the unknown. How good it is that I may claim that wherever I walk on my spiritual path, that I am a sojourner of truth and that my backpack is filled with everything I need, because it is the reminder to me that everything I need is within me and God is source and supply for all things. Short and sweet today. I'm grateful. For I know that I have whatever it takes to continue that path. The courage, the patience, the support, the breath, the mindfulness, and the love. I'm grateful. Thank you, life. Thank you, Mother, Father, God. Thank you, infinite presence. Thank you. I now take all of today's service, the meditation, my soul's desire, the music, all of the intention of today, and I release it back into the creative law of mind, where now God takes it. Spirit handles it, steps in, and figures out the how, so that I may simply be, and be simply. I release this. I know it is done. It is so. And so I ask that together we say, and so it is, and so I am, and so we are. Amen.